I went into my Lilith journey because I started to be more open, like sexually with people, doing things that I've never done, like trying things that I've always wanted to try, and ended up.
So how did you get involved with your journey with the Black Moon Lilith, understanding your personal placement, which is my personal placement, in the 7th house, the house of relationships?
Yes. So I've always known about Lilith. I've always dabbled and looked at her, but I never really fully understood it until I read this book called The Woman Who Run with the Wolves. And in the book, she talks about the wild woman, the wild nature, the first woman, the first being that everything connected to. And when I thought about it, I was like, that's Lilith, which made me go and search more about Lilith and connect the dots and then look at myself and say, oh, this is when I'm, in a relationship and I feel distrust or betrayal, I react like this. Why is it so much harsher than like my other friends or like other people? And that's when I saw that my Lilith was in the 7th house and I was like, okay, it makes sense.
Noticing patterns?
Yes, noticing the patterns.
What kinds of patterns were you going through? If you want to share some more detail, I'll share mine too. We're vulnerable here on YouTube.
Yeah, we're real vulnerable. This is intense.
Want me to go first?
Yes, you can go first.
Okay. This is how I found out about it. I was traveling one-way ticket journey to the West Coast. Music was like guiding this whole journey, and then my spirit was like, just go, one-way ticket. I got an invite to star on someone's couch in Vancouver. I knew nobody, but then all of a sudden I knew everybody. And I wanted to feel something new with my intimate life. And I noticed that everyone I was becoming friends with out there was polyamorous. And that the year or two before, back on the East Coast of the US, I kept meeting polyamorous people in the big city. And I was like, this is interesting. I also did this yoga teacher training in Costa Rica, and the teacher was like preaching polyamory. So like for years, this kind of concept been going into my mind. And a lot of people with this placement, their family is kind of broken possibly, but mine is like an extremely like tight-knit, monogamous, which I'm so grateful for. Something about the universe, life, relationships wants me to feel something about how fluid like relationship agreements can be. And like I hate cheating and stuff like that. Long story short, I dipped my toes in that polyamorous world because I had no choice if I wanted to be with anybody. I was involved with someone, was traveling more. She was, older, like Lilith. She was Lilith, now that I look back on it. Mm-hmm. And she ended up being like manipulative and broke our agreements and lied to me and like tore me to pieces. Which is so Lilith, right? So there's my vulnerability. And just one more quick notion is that I was traveling apart from her for a bit, and I met this like extremely psychic girl, the most psychic person I've ever met, and she like was channeling something about Lilith and taught me about it.
Wow. That is deep and that is amazing. I love that story.
And it was painful.
Yeah. It sounds really, it is painful, right? And it's like we learn from that pain. Because my story was kind of during COVID. It was a COVID self-evolution journey because when COVID hit, I had my daughter turn 2. And like being a mom is literally like your life goes on pause and all of your being has to be concerned with your child. Like you don't matter.
Can't even imagine.
And then it's like, okay, I matter again. So like it was around that time when I started to matter as an independent person again that I went into my Lilith journey because I started to be more open, like sexually with people, doing things that I've never done, like trying things that I've always wanted to try. And ended up with a series of lovers and then ended up with one lover, which took me on a wild journey of every emotion I could ever imagine. But it also showed me how much I wasn't like ready for certain things because I felt like pressured. Anyways, I moved to Denver that year. I moved to Denver like during COVID, just like fuck it. And that put me on a self-discovery journey of identity and who I am and where I stand in the world and how independent I can be for myself, which showed me a lot about the power of a woman and just experiences literally being the sum total of your life. Like their knowledge is only as good as the sum total of your experiences. You really start to see what you didn't see originally and how you let it slide for the sake of the other person. And it just shows you what not to do again. Like, how about we not do this again?
What
Like, this
not to
can't
do
happen.
and what not to let other people do to you.
To you.
That's been
yes.
my lesson.
And also what you allowed them to do to you. Like, forgiving yourself for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, it feels like it's your own fault at the ending, even though someone, in my case, was like a master manipulator of my perception. So that really wasn't my fault because I had no idea, but like it felt like my fault afterwards because it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I completely went into self-love, self-care, self-understanding mode and dived into Lilith. And she helped me so much because she showed me to believe in myself again.
Huh. Can you tell me about her? Like you mentioned her as she. Something I really wish to explore here is like me from this masculine lens and you from the feminine lens and the relationship Lilith has with men. So imagine how she treats me. So yeah, the divine feminine comes to mind with the harmonious manifestation of Lilith because she is such an extreme, it seems, that like, the duality of it all is like, because of that, she can probably ascend to the highest form of feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And she tests men to find their divine masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
I did make a video once in LA with Erica Angelo, who's like amazing YouTuber. So check it out up above. And we're back here, Chillin with Aztec Psyche.